Hello and welcome to our channel. In today's video, we are going to explore a topic that can be transformative for many of you: 8 signs you should cut all contact with someone. In this episode, we will tackle this delicate subject through the lens of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to live with virtue and wisdom in the face of life's adversities. Stoicism is not just about resisting adversity, but also about understanding what we can and cannot control. Especially in our personal relationships, maintaining inner peace and serenity often involves making difficult decisions, such as distancing ourselves from relationships that harm us. But how do we identify these toxic relationships, and what are the clear signs that it's time to say goodbye? In this video, we will detail the 8 crucial signs that indicate when a relationship might be compromising your emotional and mental well-being, hindering your personal growth, or even causing harm to your health. We will cover everything from constant disrespect to the harmful effects of manipulative dynamics, always with practical examples and stories that illustrate each point. By recognizing these signs in your own relationships, you will be better equipped to make decisions that respect your dignity and personal integrity, essential pillars of Stoicism. So, if you seek a more harmonious life aligned with your deepest values, this video is for you. Stay with us until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment on your experiences or questions about the topic. Now, let's dive into the 8 signs that you should cut all contact with someone. One of the first and most obvious signs that you should cut all contact with someone is consistent disrespect. Respect is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, whether it is friendship, romance, or even professional. In the Stoic context, respecting and being respected is fundamental to maintaining personal tranquility and dignity. But what does consistent disrespect really mean? Let's illustrate with a story. Imagine Marcos, a person who always strives to treat his friends with consideration and kindness. However, he noticed that one of his friends, João, frequently made derogatory comments about his life choices in public and in private. At first, Marcos tried to discuss and clarify how he felt, but João continued with the same behavior. This repetitive pattern of disrespect showed Marcos that the relationship was negatively affecting his well-being. For a Stoic, the response to this situation would be clear. It is essential to protect one's mental serenity. Continuing in a relationship where basic respect is consistently neglected can lead to emotional and mental wear and tear. It is vital to assess whether the relationship is worth the emotional turmoil it causes. Therefore, if you find yourself in a situation similar to Marcos's, where conversations and attempts to resolve the situation do not lead to changes, it may be a clear sign that cutting ties is the wisest decision. After all, maintaining internal harmony is more important than enduring a relationship that drains your energy and attacks your dignity. The second crucial sign that indicates the need to reassess or even cut ties with someone is the consistent negative impact on your mental health. In Stoic philosophy, learning to protect and cultivate inner serenity is essential. Relationships that constantly disturb this peace are contrary to Stoic teachings. When we talk about negative effects on mental health, we refer to feelings of anxiety, sadness, or stress that regularly arise due to interactions with a specific person. For example, consider the story of Anna, a dedicated professional who had a colleague, Lucia, with whom she initially had a good relationship. However, over time, Lucia began to delegate her responsibilities to Anna, overburdening her and unfairly criticizing her work in front of other colleagues. Anna began to feel growing anxiety at the prospect of each workday, affecting her sleep and overall well-being. For a Stoic, mental health is not just a component of life, but a fundamental pillar that sustains all other virtues. If a relationship is causing anxiety, insomnia, or feelings of devaluation, this is a clear indicator that something needs to change. Anna's relationship with Lucia became a source of constant anguish, which is incompatible with the Stoic pursuit of tranquility. It is vital to recognize and confront these negative emotions. Ignoring them is not only detrimental to mental health, but also a way of neglecting one's own authenticity and dignity. In Anna's situation, Stoic actions could include setting clearer boundaries with Lucia or seeking support from superiors to mediate the situation. Moreover, Stoic philosophy teaches us to evaluate our own reactions and behaviors in challenging relationships. If we find that our emotions are frequently disturbed, we must ask ourselves, am I giving this person the power to affect my internal state? And what measures can I take to regain my emotional balance? This can involve anything from frank conversations to the difficult decision to completely distance oneself from the relationship. Therefore, if you repeatedly find yourself exhausted or disturbed after interactions with someone, consider this a red flag. Protecting your mental health is not only an act of self-care, but also a Stoic imperative. Taking care of yourself allows you to live according to your virtues and maintain the calm necessary to face other challenges in life. The third sign that may indicate the need to reassess or even cut ties is a fundamental misalignment of values. In Stoicism, living according to ethical and personal principles is essential to maintaining integrity and inner peace. When interactions with another person consistently contradict these values, this can cause significant internal conflicts and disturb your tranquility. Consider the case of Clara and Roberto. Clara deeply values honesty and transparency, considering them pillars of her personal and professional relationships. However, she begins to notice that Roberto, a close friend, frequently distorts the truth to benefit himself in social or professional situations. At first, Clara tries to ignore these behaviors, but over time, she feels increasingly uncomfortable, realizing that this misalignment of values is affecting her own serenity and self-perception. For a Stoic, the congruence between what one values and what one practices is fundamental. Confronted with the dissonance between her values and Roberto's actions, Clara faces a Stoic dilemma. She must decide whether to continue compromising her tranquility in the name of friendship or to choose to distance herself to preserve her integrity and inner peace. In this context, it is important to reflect on how our relationships influence our ability to live according to our values. If you find yourself justifying actions that contradict your ethical principles or feeling guilty after interactions with certain people, this may be an indicator that the values are not aligned. Stoic philosophy encourages us to be true to ourselves and to prioritize relationships that reinforce our deepest values. This not only helps us maintain inner peace, but also strengthens our character. When evaluating your relationships, consider whether they support or compromise the values that are fundamental to you. Difficult decisions may be necessary, but true Stoic tranquility comes from living in harmony with our most cherished principles. The fourth sign that it may be necessary to cut all contact with someone is the constant feeling of emotional drainage. In Stoic philosophy, it is essential that our relationships are sources of mutuality and strengthening, not continuous exhaustion. When interactions with a person consistently leave us exhausted and without energy, this may be an indicator that the relationship is not aligned with the principles of a virtuous life. Imagine the situation of Helena, who has a friend, Carlos, with whom she used to enjoy a vibrant and enriching friendship. However, over the years, Carlos became increasingly dependent on Helena for emotional support, often unloading his problems and negativity without considering the impact on Helena. She begins to notice that each meeting with Carlos leaves her mentally and emotionally drained, compromising her own ability to handle her responsibilities and take care of her well-being. For a Stoic, each interaction should be a balanced exchange, where both parties offer and receive support. If a relationship constantly takes more than it gives, this can not only adversely affect a person's mental health, but also divert them from the path to achieving their best version. The energy that Helena spends on Carlos could be better invested in activities that cultivate her virtue and serenity. Recognizing this pattern of drainage is crucial. It's not about being selfish, but about maintaining one's own resilience and energy so that we can be useful not only to ourselves, but also to others in a sustainable way. If you often find yourself exhausted after interactions with a person, it is important to consider whether this relationship is worth the energy it requires. Helena, upon realizing the imbalance in her relationship with Carlos, should consider setting firmer boundaries or, if necessary, reducing the frequency of their meetings, thereby seeking to preserve her vital energy. This decision is not easy, but it is fundamental to maintaining one's own serenity and effectiveness in life, central principles of Stoicism. The fifth sign that you should consider cutting contact with someone is the presence of manipulation. In interactions, the Stoic view of authenticity and honesty are essential values that must be maintained in all relationships. Manipulation, whether emotional or behavioral, is a clear deviation from these principles, as it involves influencing someone for one's own benefit, often at the expense of the other. Imagine the case of Sophia, who discovers that her partner, Lucas, frequently uses emotional tactics to persuade her to make decisions that are not in her best interest but benefit Lucas. He may, for example, distort facts or use guilt as a tool to win arguments or pressure Sophia to make concessions that make her uncomfortable. For a Stoic, each person must seek to live justly and virtuously, respecting the autonomy and will of others. When someone deliberately manipulates, they compromise the other's ability to make decisions based on clear and rational judgment, a central pillar of Stoicism. Recognizing manipulation is crucial to maintaining one's own dignity and integrity. If you notice that your decisions are often the result of external pressure and not your own will, this may be a sign that the relationship is detrimental to your personal development and the practice of living according to your values. Faced with this realization, it is appropriate for Sophia to reassess her relationship with Lucas, establishing clearer boundaries or, if necessary, distancing herself to protect her serenity and well-being. Making such decisions can be challenging, but they are essential to living a true and full Stoic life. The sixth sign that it may be necessary to reassess or cut ties is the persistent lack of trust. In Stoic philosophy, trust is seen as an essential element for any healthy and virtuous relationship. Without trust, the foundations upon which we build our most significant interactions are unstable and our internal serenity is frequently compromised. Consider the case of Beatriz and Eduardo. Beatriz and Eduardo were business partners and longtime friends. However, over time, Beatriz began to notice discrepancies in the company's finances that could not be easily explained. When confronted, Eduardo was evasive or offered explanations that were not convincing. Eduardo's lack of transparency began to erode Beatriz's trust, not only in his professional capability but also in his personal integrity. For a Stoic, the presence of trust is what allows people to cooperate effectively and support each other in the pursuit of a good and virtuous life. Without trust, we are always on guard, unable to open up completely or share our true thoughts and feelings, which can lead to a life of constant vigilance and internal tension. The deterioration of trust between Beatriz and Eduardo serves as a reminder that once compromised, trust can be extremely difficult to restore. In situations where trust is repeatedly violated, it may be necessary to question whether continuing the relationship is compatible with the pursuit of virtue and tranquility. Additionally, the lack of trust can manifest in constant concerns about the other person's loyalty and intentions. If you often find yourself doubting someone's words or actions, it is important to assess how these doubts affect your peace of mind. Stoicism teaches us that we should focus our energy on relationships that strengthen our ability to be just, courageous, and wise. In Beatriz's case, addressing these issues directly and seeking a solution that restores transparency and trust may be the first step. If this fails, considering the dissolution of the partnership may be the necessary path to preserve her integrity and emotional well-being. The seventh sign that you should cut all contact with someone is the presence of abuse, whether physical, emotional, verbal, or psychological. Stoicism teaches that each individual should live with dignity and respect, both for themselves and for others. The presence of abuse in a relationship is a clear violation of these principles, and no philosophical or emotional argument can justify staying in such circumstances. Consider the story of Laura, who discovered that her partner, Tiago, frequently belittled her in front of friends and family. Initially, Laura tried to justify Tiago's behavior as just a joke, but over time, his words began to have a detrimental effect on her self-esteem and mental well-being. Moreover, their arguments sometimes escalated into intense verbal confrontations, leaving Laura feeling scared and devalued. For a Stoic, the response to this situation would be clear. It is essential to withdraw from interactions that compromise personal integrity. Abuse in any form is not only harmful, it eliminates the individual's ability to live a virtuous and peaceful life. Stoic philosophy encourages us to make choices that reinforce our self-respect and serenity, elements without which we cannot achieve true happiness. Recognizing abuse and taking steps to end such relationships is an act of courage and self-respect. It is not a sign of weakness but of strength and commitment to one's own values. If you find yourself in a situation similar to Laura's, it is crucial to seek support from friends, family, or professionals and seriously consider removing yourself from the relationship. This aligns with Stoic teachings on self-respect and dignity. The eighth sign that you should consider cutting all contact with someone is the absence of mutual growth or support. Stoicism deeply values personal development and the ability to contribute positively to the lives of others. Relationships that do not promote growth or mutual support can not only stall your personal evolution, but also affect your ability to live a full and meaningful life. Think of Paula and Mateus, who initially bonded over shared interests and values. Over time, however, Paula noticed that while she strove to improve personally and professionally, Mateus remained stagnant and, more critically, began to discourage her efforts to advance, minimizing her achievements and resisting new ideas. This dynamic began to create an environment where Paula felt increasingly limited and less valued. For a Stoic, every relationship should be a source of enrichment and encouragement. If a relationship does not support your growth or becomes an obstacle to achieving your potential, it ceases to be beneficial. Stoic wisdom suggests that we should be proactive in cultivating relationships that push us to be better, wiser, and more virtuous. The lack of mutual growth and support can be subtle, but its effects are deeply limiting. Relationships should be reciprocal, with both individuals benefiting and growing together. If you find that you are constantly giving support but rarely receiving anything in return, or if you feel constantly demotivated by a partner, friend, or colleague, this may be an indicator that the relationship is no longer healthy or sustainable. In light of this recognition, like Paula, you may need to consider redefining or even ending such relationships to preserve your well-being and continue your personal growth journey. Although decisions like these can be difficult, they are fundamental to maintaining integrity and fidelity to your Stoic values. Today we explored the 8 signs that you should cut all contact with someone through a journey across the Stoic principles applied to our daily interactions. These signs serve as guides to help identify when a relationship might be harming more than benefiting your life. From consistent disrespect to the absence of mutual growth or support, each sign points to the need to reassess and possibly redirect the course of our relationships. Recognizing these signs is not just about ending relationships, but about protecting your inner peace and promoting your personal growth. Stoicism teaches us that serenity comes from living in harmony with our values, and this includes maintaining relationships that are healthy, reciprocal, and enriching. As you reflect on your own relationships, I encourage you to consider these signs seriously. If you identify any of these patterns in your interactions, it may be time to make courageous decisions to cultivate an environment that supports your well-being and development. Thank you for watching up to here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content on how to apply Stoicism in your daily life. Leave a like if this video was helpful and share your experiences or insights in the comments. Your interaction is crucial for us and can help others navigate their own Stoic journeys. Remember, living well is about making choices aligned with virtue and mutual respect. Protect your peace, value your growth, and be true to your values. Until the next video.